Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite makes the process of becoming a published, best-selling author as simple as sipping your morning cup of coffee. You can learn more about Authors Unite at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Dr. Jill Deupi with us. She is the Beaux-Arts Director and Chief Curator of the Lowe Art Museum. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tyler. I'm delighted to be here.
Of course. Grateful to have you here. We'll jump right into the first one, Jill. The first one I have for you is, what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Well, I think that the story that I enjoy sharing with my own children who are now approaching their teenage years, two of them are already actually in their teenage years. And, you know, they're at a moment where they don't like change, they don't like transition. And I keep trying to explain to them that that's how you learn, that's how you grow, that's how you mature, and that's how you create these really wonderful life stories that allow you to be more versatile and flexible, but also have new points or nodes of connections with people you meet. So I think one of the most interesting things about my biography, and also answers your question, is the fact that I was born in Adak, Alaska, which is in the Aleutian Islands, in the middle of nowhere. It's actually closer to Russia than it is to the United States. And I think that really set the tone for my life in terms of never being afraid of trying new things or going new places and always looking for the next adventure that's right around the corner. And that's something that I bring to my museum administration responsibilities, but also bring to bear on my own life.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Running an art museum is much more complicated than people might imagine. There are so many moving parts in terms of everything from the gifts we accept and how we do so to the shows that we curate. People are shocked when they learn about how many rules and regulations, protocols, and really just simply, again, moving parts there are to the art museum world. It's a very complicated organism.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice, so not necessarily industry specific?
My best piece of advice is, before you speak, listen. I think that serves anyone well in whatever field they are in.
I agree. And if you could give, and you kind of touched on this with your children, but if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't be afraid.
I like it. And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Compassion.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
See, I'm going to give you disappointing answers here because I'm not a favorites kind of person, but I will tell you that right now I'm reading two books that I'm finding absolutely fascinating. One is called What Are You Looking At? The Surprising, Shocking, and Sometimes Strange Story of 150 Years of Modern Art. That's written by Will Gompertz, and it's this wonderful romp through the last 150 years of modern and contemporary art. And I'm also reading Paul Mellon's autobiography called Reflections in the Silver Spoon, because he was such an incredible philanthropist in the world of art and museums, and it's just a very, very interesting story, beautifully written. And
what is, well, I know you don't do favorites, so what's a quote that you really like?
A quote that I really like comes from Maya Angelou, who said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel."
I love that quote. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
The best place is to go to our website, which is www.loweart.miami.edu.
Beautiful. Thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.